Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're kicking off an awe-inspiring journey through an absolutely surreal landscape, a place where myth and reality literally intertwine. Get ready, because we're heading to a spot that's going to completely redefine your understanding of natural beauty, history, and human resilience.
So I want you to ask yourself, do you believe there is a place on Earth where the highest mountains in the world cast their reflections straight onto deserts covered in pure white sand? Where massive glaciers stretch out for tens of kilometers, flowing right alongside green meadows blanketed in wildflowers? Or what about a place where, if you cross a fragile bridge as thin as a thread between two massive gorges, you find yourself in a land seemingly frozen in time? Well, that land actually exists. It's northern Pakistan. And let me tell you, the beauty of the nature, the culture, and the people here reaches an absolutely surreal level.
You see, northern Pakistan is essentially a living museum, and it's a place where extreme opposites coexist in total harmony. We're talking ancient forts like Baltit and the ruins of Sharda, which was once the largest Buddhist academic center in ancient South Asia, standing in stark contrast to modern marvels like the Faisal Mosque. It's the harsh, icy peaks of the Karakoram, existing just a short journey away from the lush, serene vistas of fairy meadows. Cold and hot, ancient and modern, tranquil and adventurous, real and mythical, it all just converges right here.
Moving on to Section 1, the Spine, which is the Karakoram Highway. The sheer scale of this journey is just staggering. Spanning over 1,300 kilometers, the Karakoram Highway, known as the highest road in the world, connects Kashgar in China with Thakot in Pakistan. As you cross the Kunjab Pass, where it literally feels like the sky and the earth are touching, the sound of your tires crunching on gravel echoes through the valley. That sound blends perfectly with this cold, howling wind sweeping up clouds of dust. And honestly, at times the clouds descend right in front of your windshield. It makes it feel way less like a drive and more like you've stepped into some kind of airborne adventure. Now, what's fascinating is that this region was once the pounding heart of the legendary Silk Road. It was a site where ancient empires contended for power, echoing with the hoofbeats of merchants, scholars, and pilgrims searching for spiritual enlightenment. Back in the 7th century, the monk Xuanzang of the Tang dynasty journeyed right through these treacherous mountains. By 1856, you had British expeditions mapping the terrain. And today, it remains home to ethnic groups like the Waki, Burusho, and Shina. The past and the present are literally stacked right on top of each other.
When you look at the life here, well, in this barren, high-altitude environment, you aren't going to find dense forests on those rocky slopes. Instead, you've got these incredibly resilient, drought-tolerant shrubs like tamarisk and oleander just clinging to the rocky ground to survive. And tucked among those layers of rock is a quiet, hidden world. Desert snakes, mountain foxes, and herds of magnificent Markhor goats hiding way up on the towering peaks.
But make no mistake, nature here demands absolute respect. The local Baltish and Shina people actually use a pretty chilling phrase to describe the Karakoram Range. They call them the Angry Mountains. And that's because violent, sudden avalanches are viewed as divine wrath from the gods. When you're standing there, looking up at peaks that tower over 8,000 meters, shimmering with these icy blue hues under the sunlight, wow, you really do feel an overwhelming awe and a deep sense of spirituality.
All right, Section 2, the cultural heart, focusing on Hunza and the surrounding lakes.
As we descend from those harsh peaks into the vibrant green oasis of the Hunza Valley, you might just encounter the incredible Hunza people. Residing way up at 2,400 meters, nestled among snow-capped peaks and ancient Brahmi and Tibetan rock inscriptions, they are globally renowned as the longest living people in the entire world. When you're there, you can walk along these centuries-old irrigation canals that are an essential part of daily life, pause at Damani Ko to quietly watch a blazing sunset, or stop at the Rakaposhi viewpoint to just take in those majestic mountains soaring into the blue sky.
Just a short drive from the valley center, there is a totally mesmerizing, yet incredibly sorrowful contrast: Atabad Lake. This was formed back in 2010 after a massive landslide completely blocked the Hunza River. That disaster tragically claimed 20 lives and buried entire villages. But out of that devastating natural tragedy, this stunning 20-kilometer turquoise lake emerged. Today, it's one of the most famous destinations in Gilgit-Baltistan. It's a profound, almost eerie stillness that was born entirely from destruction. Now, if you're looking for a serious thrill, crossing the Husseini Suspension Bridge really shows how risk is just an accepted part of everyday life here. We're talking fragile wooden planks with massive wide gaps, suspended entirely by cold steel cables right above the frothing, muddy water of the roaring Hunza River.
No safety nets, every gust of wind makes the whole thing sway. Yet local kids cross this thread-like bridge every single day just to get to school. Pretty wild, right?
Moving along to Section 3, Urban Contrast, where we look at Islamabad.
Leaving those jagged mountains behind, taking a brief detour over to Pakistan's orderly capital reveals a really striking contrast. Get this, a full 45% of Islamabad is strictly dedicated to greenery and nature reserves. Embraced by the Margalla Hills, the city has this cool climate and a tranquil rhythm that is totally unlike the concrete jungles you'd find in most global capitals. It's an urban environment that's just perfectly harmonized with the natural world.
And right in the heart of that city is this stunning blend of ancient faith and modern design. Compared to your traditional enclosed Islamic mosques with the domed roofs, the breathtaking Faisal Mosque takes the shape of a white marble Bedouin tent, flanked by 4 sharp minarets. Completed back in 1986, it literally glows under the sunlight like a radiant gem, providing this incredible space of deep spiritual peace.
Let's head to Section 4, the final frontier, exploring the valleys of Kashmir and Skardu.
Deep in the forested mountains of the Neelam Valley, you'll find the Sharda Ruins. This was once the absolute largest Buddhist academic center in all of ancient South Asia. And let me tell you, stepping onto those moss-covered stone steps today, you can literally sense the breath of time lingering in the quiet air. It's truly a place frozen in time since the last century. Getting to our next destination, though, definitely requires some intense endurance. But hey, the adventure makes the reward so much sweeter, right? First, you gotta ride a jeep to the foot of the mountain. Then, you switch over to a dirt bike to traverse these super narrow, rugged paths. And finally, you trek deeply on foot through thick alpine forests of pine and juniper. All of that effort leads to just an absolute marvel of nature.
When you finally arrive, you are greeted by Radi Gali Lake. The icy emerald water reflects the sky and the snow-capped peaks so perfectly that locals fondly call it Heaven's Mirror of Kashmir. The silence there is so profound. In fact, local legend says that on full moon nights, if you listen closely enough, you can actually hear fairies singing from right beneath its surface. No way you wouldn't be captivated by that.
Moving further into Skardu, there's this hyper-realistic paradise that seriously looks like it was painted straight out of a dream. The Shangri-La Resort features this breathtaking, heart-shaped lake completely surrounded by towering, snow-capped mountains and striking red-roofed cottages. When night falls, the sky just becomes thick with starlight, glittering like thousands of diamonds over a scene of pure, untouched serenity. You feel like you're floating between 2 worlds, one above and one right beneath your feet. So, wrapping things up, northern Pakistan isn't just a location on a map. It's an experience of incredible duality. From the terrifying heights of the Hussaini Bridge to the serene stillness of fairy tale lakes, it is a place where absolute extremes balance each other perfectly. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder, as you reflect on the surreal, living museum we've just explored in this explainer. If opposites coexist so beautifully in northern Pakistan, what hidden contrasts are waiting for you to discover next?